What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and that was easy. Yeah, I didn't even need to go grab my my Good Luck Chelsea jersey today because right away, a few minutes in, we're already up 1-0. Easy goal off of was it a free kick or a corner? I think it was a corner. But yeah, just started off very easy for us, and then from there it was just constant pressure. And I think one of the things that really helped us today was that constant pressure. It wasn't a we scored and then we just kind of let off. It was a we scored and then we kept pushing and we kept pushing and we kept pushing. And it paid dividends. It showed today that whenever we put pressure on the other team, this is what can happen. Whenever we're constantly putting pressure on them, whenever we have somebody up there who can do that, like Willian or Pedro, this is what can happen. So I think that's one thing that really showed today. As good as that 3-5-2 formation has looked at times, I think it does lack that constant pressure up top. Because Hazard isn't somebody who's going to chase down the ball. Morata is not going to chase down the ball. Willian and Pedro are willing to do that. So you have one of those up there with Hazard and Morata. That's when you really start to see how that pressure works. So I think in a game like situation like this, where you've got the other team who's more likely to sort of try to hold possession whenever they get it, not really push forward trying to get a goal because they're away, that's when you need players up top who are going to chase down the ball and who are going to try to win it back. And I think that's when players like Willian and Pedro can truly shine, and they certainly did today. So, yeah. Let's talk about, I guess, first of all, the formation, the lineup, because it's a pretty interesting lineup. Same back three as we had against Brighton and Hove Albion. Cahill in the middle with Azpilicueta and Rudiger behind him. Not a bad lineup, and it worked today too. I think it's a formation that's a little bit different. I still don't know if I fully trust Cahill in the middle, but I think Azpilicueta and Rudiger as the cover defenders, I think that works pretty well. I think it's a back three that can work very well. Moses and Alonso on the wingbacks again, of course, because they're still our best options there. Drinkwater and Conte in the middle. Interesting, different. Conte obviously is our best midfielder in there, but putting Drinkwater in there provides something a little bit different. He's not as good at passing as Fabregas is, but still a good passer and a little bit quicker. And on top of that, he also works very well with Conte. They have that sort of connection from when they played together at Leicester, and you can see they work very well off of each other. They know where they're going to be. They do a very good job of reading each other's runs and all of that, and they worked very well together today. So I think it's a very good midfield lineup. I don't know how much more often we're going to see that, but I do think it's a midfield that can work very well together. And then the front three, Willian, Pedro, Morata, not our best front three, but in my opinion, still very good because you've got the hard work rate of Willian and Pedro, and then you've got Morata up top, who does move quite a bit for a striker. It's not, like I said, it's not our best option. Obviously, without Hazard up there, it's never going to be our best option. But I think there's enough movement to really make the back line of Stoke work, and that's what they did today. I think they really forced them to have to try to, we got to move, we got to follow this player, we got to follow this player, and they're all moving all over the field. That's hard to track. That's hard to defend against. And so I think that's where the front three, I think that's their biggest strength, is their movement. So, yeah, it's not our strongest starting lineup, but it's a starting lineup that is very effective and will make the other team work. And so against the Stoke side that have really been crumbling lately, yeah, it was easy for them. So let's talk about individual performances. Courtois had to make a couple saves, had to make one-on-one save to keep us at the clean sheet, and then had to make a late challenge on Ramadan, I think, because Alonso gave him a terrible throw. So yeah, he had to make a few crucial moment saves, and he did today. He did miss the one that ended up being a handball, but I'm going to sort of let that go because it didn't count as a goal. But the rest of the saves he had to make were important saves because there were only like 2 chances that they had, and he had to come up big. So I do appreciate the fact that he's doing that for us because he hasn't in the past. There have been a few games where we needed him to make one save to keep us in the game or to keep the pressure off of us, and he didn't make that save, and all of a sudden the momentum shifted. So I think the fact that he made those crucial saves today shows he does have the ability to, just sometimes he doesn't. So as far as the back line's concerned, all 3 of them I thought played pretty well. Cahill is obviously the one that I'm always most critical of because of the mistakes he's made in the past. Today, he didn't really make a whole lot of mistakes. There were a couple moments, though, that were scary. One in particular where Moses had complete possession of it, saw what was in front of him, had a pass picked out. Cahill took the ball away from him and didn't see the guy coming from behind him. And so then that guy strips Cahill, and all of a sudden they have a chance. So there are just a few moments like that where he does something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Bad clearance, bad pass, poor decision on the ball, and then all of a sudden it's dangerous. But defensively, though, he did pretty well today. He did let Berahino get in behind him one time for that one chance that Courtois had to save, but that was more of a poor pass in the midfield that set up a quick counterattack. So I'm not really going to blame him for it, but I am going to say that the lack of speed in there is shown whenever you've got somebody up top like Berahino who's got a lot of speed. Christensen doesn't have that much speed either, but he does have more speed than Cahill does, so I think he'd be able to cut off that pass a little bit better. But anyway, aside from those few mistakes on the ball, I think Cahill played pretty well. Azpilicueta played really well, strong defensively, and on top of that created a bunch of chances with his dangerous balls in. Rudiger made some really good runs in, got a good header too for the goal, so both of them played really well defensively and got forward in the attack and helped out there too. So very good to see that we have two defenders that can do that. Wingbacks, both of them pretty quiet today. Moses, not his typical energetic, like bursting around defenders self. He did have a few moments here and there, but for the most part, he was kept pretty quiet. Alonso, same thing, pretty quiet, didn't really have a whole lot of space out of there. A lot of that was down to the fact that they dropped their wings all the way back to become, a back six. So there wasn't really a whole lot of space out wide like there normally is against some of these teams we play. So it does make sense why they're both kept quiet, but if I had to critique and criticize, I'm going to look at Alonso and say there are way too many times where whether he gives up the ball, whether he gets caught out of possession, high up the field, whatever the case, there's not enough of a work rate to get back. There's just too many times where, whether it's his giveaway or whether somebody around him gives it away, it doesn't feel like his first thought is, oh, I need to get back. And I kind of get, 4-0, 3-0, whatever it was at the time. There was one moment where he gives the ball away, and it's like there's no reaction from him. There's no, oh, hey, let me go win this back. He just, I think he pretended to get fouled, and then he doesn't get the call, and he just sort of stands up slowly. I'm just like, you realize you just gave it away, and now they have a chance to get through a goal, right? Like, and then the throw-in that nearly led to a goal late on. I mean, just all these little things, and I'm just like, do you want your spot on the field? Like, I realize we don't have a backup right now, but January's right around the corner. You should be playing to make sure we don't go get somebody in January. You should try to prove to Conte, hey, look, you don't need to get anybody in January. I'm good. I can handle this. But you're not showing that. You're showing that there's a lack of energy. You're lazy at times, especially lazy defensively. That's not at all what Conte wants. You look at Moses, anytime the ball is on his side of the field, he's one of the first ones sprinting back out of the midfield. He's one of the first ones to get back and try to get behind the ball. Hardly ever do I see him walking or jogging back. And if he is, it's because Azpilicueta's already won the ball and he's jogging into a position where he can receive it. But I never, whenever they've got the ball, I never see Moses, oh yeah, let me just whatever, don't care. I see Alonso do that at least 3 or 4 times in one game. And that's not good enough. And on top of that, on the ball, his quality hasn't been great either. A couple really good chances to set up a good cross, plenty of space, right to the defender. And all I'm thinking is, how can you not pick out one of our players? We have players in the box. You also have cutbacks as well, and instead you find one of the defenders. And just little things like that, and they start to build, and by the end of the game, I'm frustrated with them. So, yeah, not a poor game on his behalf, but definitely not good enough. Moses just kept very quiet for most of the game, but still worked hard. So I do appreciate that side of it. In the midfield, Conte, typical Conte, very good at closing down, picking off passes, putting the midfield under pressure for the other team. Drinkwater, very surprisingly good game from him. Just not surprisingly good because I didn't think he had it in him. I know he had it in him. I mean, they won the title 2 years ago. we know that he has that in him. But today, I mean, just really stepped up. It looked like he had been a part of our team for years. The way he was just picking out passes, dumping balls over the top. I mean, honestly, it looked a bit like Fabregas. I will say that the quality on the passes, some of them weren't great, but there were some that were brilliant. I mean, a couple outswingers that inside of the foot outswingers to Alonso and Moses. One ball over the top right onto Morata's foot that unfortunately bounced off the defender afterwards. But I mean, he's looking for it every time and he's finding most of them. And yeah, it looked pretty good. On top of that, he's quick with his feet too. Quick little moves to get away from the defender and open some space up for himself. And that's the type of stuff that Fabregas at times really isn't able to do. He's a little bit slower on his feet, so he's not able to find that little bit of space. So yeah, it's a little bit better to see we have a midfielder in there who can pass, but can also dribble a little bit too and get out of danger if he needs to. On top of that, what a goal. I mean, just, man, nicely hit outside the foot, bending away from the keeper right into the upper corners. Perfect. Then you get up into the front three. Willian, for me, man of the match. No question. What do you get? 2 assists? 2 or 3 assists? And then a goal on top of it for the penalty. I mean, just really, really worked hard today and showed that he does deserve a spot in the team. And like I said, this 3-4-3 formation works very well if you have somebody up there who's willing to work, and Willian's willing to do that. So I think looking at this game and looking at some of his performances off the bench, I think he's really making a case for himself to be more involved. I'm not saying start him every single week, but definitely give him some starts, especially in games where we need somebody who's going to work hard up top. Whenever you're facing a team that's going to sit back a little bit more, that's going to try to keep possession in their third, you need somebody like Willian who's willing to pressure and put them under pressure. So, yeah, I really thought he played very well today, worked very hard. Overall, very pleased from him. Pedro, pleased with part of his game and then not pleased with other parts of his game. He has some very good moments where he's working the ball well. He has a good shot. We saw that one turn that led to the goal. I mean, it was brilliant. But then he also has some downsides. Some bad giveaways, some moments where he's dribbling into pressure, moments where you just feel like just give the ball away, just give it away. And then he doesn't, and then he dribbles into pressure and then he loses it. Simulation when you're 3-0 up to get a yellow. Why? What's the point of it? So just all these little things that are just kind of frustrating. Kind of like Alonso, but the difference is Pedro does have some really good upsides to his game. The hard work to win the ball back, the quick turns, the quick passes. He does all that stuff very well. So it's almost like it's a mixture. You take Willian, who had a really good game today with all the hard work, didn't really make a lot of mistakes, and then you take Alonso, who didn't really play poorly, but had a lot of little mistakes that just kept building up. You smush those together, you get Pedro. A lot of good stuff, but a lot of little bad stuff too. So I kept going back and forth with him. I honestly thought Bakayoko should have come on for Pedro, just to put 3 in the midfield for us and keep Conte on, take Pedro off on a yellow, because he wasn't really helping us either. He's taking a lot of random shots that weren't really leading to anything. So I don't know, maybe that's just me, but for me personally, I want a player out there who's going to consistently play well, not have good moments every now and then. And that's pretty much Pedro's game. Last up, Morata. Played pretty well today at times. My biggest concern with him is still the fact that he ends up on the ground a lot. And maybe that's just his style of play, but he's got to learn to change it. Because the fact of the matter is, the referees in the Premier League are less likely to call that type of stuff than they are in La Liga. You go down easily in the Premier League, the referees are like, get up, you baby. So he's got to learn to be able to hold up under the challenge, to be able to, a defender comes in, he's got to learn to use his strength, because we've seen he has strength, to either turn them or just hold up the ball and then lay it off for somebody. But instead, his first reaction anytime there's pressure on him from behind is forward. And it's not working for him. He ends up on the ground a lot, he loses possession, referees aren't calling it, and he's not involved. And that's a problem, for your main striker who should be receiving the ball a lot, be your target man, look to turn or lay it off, doing all that stuff. He should not be ending up on the ground as much as he is. So yeah, that's my biggest concern for him. Other than that, I mean, he still makes a lot of good runs. He can play very well whenever he does stay on his feet. So I want to see more of that from him and less of the diving and trying to get fouls and all of that. And I say diving not like he's simulating deserving yellows. I'm saying like contact and he goes over too easily. That type of diving. Last up, talk about the subs. Bakayoko was the first one on for Conte. Oh wait, no. Sorry, Zappacosta was the first one on for Moses. I don't really know why this sub keeps happening. I don't think Zappacosta brings anything more than Moses does. I mean, obviously he got the goal, but that was from a mistake from the defender. It wasn't like he did anything special. It was a nice hit. But I look at Zappacosta and I'm like, what does he bring aside from a more attacking sense and less defensive sense? And whenever you're up 3-0, why would you bring on somebody like that? You know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to bring Zappacosta on for Moses. I think it makes a lot more sense to bring Zappacosta on for Alonso because he provides a lot more going forward than Alonso does. And on top of that, if he's on the left side, he can cut in and shoot with his right. So I don't know why this sub is the one that Conte likes because I feel like it just sort of takes away a little bit from our right side. So it's strange. I mean, he didn't play poorly. He did create a little bit from the right side, but it still just felt like he wasn't doing anything more than what Moses was doing. So Bakayoko came on next for Conte. A little bit of a rough start, but then once he got into the groove of the game, started playing a little bit better. It's still kind of hit and miss with him. Still hoping that he can grow. Hopefully by the end of the season he'll be a better player. But right now he's still kind of that the new player coming into the league, trying to get the feel of it and trying to understand the style of play. And you can see the nervousness. A lot of the times whenever he's on the ball, he's not sure what to do with it. He's tripping over himself. So yeah, I'm hoping that he will start to learn a bit more and start to really grow as a player. And then last up, Batshuayi comes on for Murata, and looked pretty good. He's still coming back from the injury, still trying to sort of get back into that match fitness. And games like this is exactly where he needs to pop in for the last, what was it, like 15, 20 minutes. Just give him a little bit of a run out because we're going to need him. We got a lot of games coming up. We got FA Cup. We got League Cup games. We're going to need him to be able to go full 90 minutes. So, yeah, it's good to see that he gets some time here and played pretty well. Didn't really do anything special, but did work hard and showed a good account of himself. So, that's about it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know what we can talk about and discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.